Good day, welcome. My name is Annihilation and today I will be bringing you a very belated wrap-up for March. The first book in this wrap-up will be The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, which I actually started reading in February to get over a reading slump because I read Caraval, which was probably the worst book I ever read, and this is one of the best ones. I have at least read this year and especially also the last couple of years. It has a very good atmosphere written in it, and I like the fact that the character building is very much based on the plot too. The characters are, most of them, very deep. I like them. And yeah, well written, well done. I'd recommend you read it if you haven't read it already. And just skip Caraval if you are in the same opinion as me. I gave this one 4 stars. The next book I'm going to talk about is Feuersteine by Chris Pieros. This is a German very short lesbian romance, and I'm already not that much into romance books, and as far as German writing goes, I have read a lot better. So, well, even though it is a nice, cute, fluffy-ish story that takes place over the winter, at least most of it. For the well-known German Christmas markets, I have been to a few. The atmosphere was portrayed very good, but it was just an okay read for me, so I gave it 3 stars. I hope to discover a couple of German writers that are actually better than this, and not just the one I already discovered. And going on to the next book, I have 3 of them, consisting of A Darker Shade of Magic, A Gathering of Shadows, and The Conjuring of Light in the British paperback prints, because they suit me better. I gave all of those books 4 stars. I liked the 3rd one best, and if you want to know more about my opinions, you can look up my review and analysis on these books on my channel, or you can look up my review on A Darker Shade of Magic, which is the most elaborate, on Goodreads, and possibly also on The Conjuring of Light. Then I read this Dutch book I got for Book Week, which is called Makkelijk Leven, written by Herman Koch. Possibly the only positive attribute to this book was the nice writing style. The main character is incredibly unlikable, and that wouldn't be as bad if he had like one redeeming character trait, but he has literally none, and it gets even worse near the end, especially since probably all my viewers cannot properly read this book. I will say he goes from an incredibly obnoxious know-it-all character to an incredibly obnoxious know-it-all character who falls in love with his daughter-in-law. And it is incredibly creepy. That plot twist was, well, it was in character, but it did not make the book any better. So just go away with that one. Luckily it was free, so I don't have to regret spending money on it, because I hopefully got a better Dutch book instead of that. And after that I finished finally the book Norse Mythology, Great Stories from the Eddas, translated probably by Hamilton Wright maybe, or however you pronounce it. It is a great collection of about 10 stories from the Eddas, which is the book linked to Asatru, the Norwegian religion from a long time ago, and it tells you a little bit about how the gods are born and their living height and the way they fall down, and the way the earth goes down and comes back up again. I really liked it a lot, and one of my favorite quotes ever is written in this, and because I don't know it by heart, I will look at it and read it to you because, well, it is true. It is dangerous to seek the gods, unless we profit by what they tell us, for it is better to be ignorant than to possess knowledge and not live by it. This quote hit me so hard, and then I let my sister read it and she totally agreed with me. because we sometimes have the feeling, because of our ideologies, of being vegan, which has totally nothing to do with this channel, but you can find some vegan videos way back in my past, some vegan recipes, that the people who don't even understand our points of view usually just are ignorant to the facts, and that if you try to awaken them, they just don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear it, which, well, better to stay ignorant than to know it and feel guilty but still live the way you did before, right? By the way, if you want to know my opinions on why I'm vegan, ask for it in the comments. It has nothing to do with BookTube, but I'm glad to explain it to you. For these stories, I have a feeling that it would be way better to read them in Norwegian. I believe I gave the book 3.5 stars, I'm not sure anymore, because I just really like these kinds of stories. But for the rest, I'd recommend this, or possibly if you are really into mythology, just like me, I just should have tried and find like an actual copy of the Eddas instead of this one, because I think these ones are not only translated but possibly a little bit rewritten. So I'd rather like read the entire book, because there are possibly very big gaps between the stories, and I just like to read a story consisting of stories. So I will definitely look further into this mythology now, but for now, this was a great start, and it leads me to the final book I read in March, which was Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, part 1 in the Southern Reach trilogy. I believe this is a contemporary or sci-fi mystery, something like that. It's about a biologist who, with an expedition, goes into Area X, and the people have no clue what caused Area X into being. And well, the expeditions, she is part of, I believe, the 12th expedition, and they have been doing those expeditions for 30 years. There are some revelations in the book, and that let you think, what have those people been lying about? And those revelations go on in like the second part, which I'm currently reading. I really liked this book. I liked the fact that the biologist was so incredibly introverted, and that got a really prominent view in the book. But it is a shame that all 3 books are probably written from 3 different perspectives, because this perspective I really liked. I really liked the way it ended too. And the second part is written from a perspective that is not so introverted and very different. I still really like it, but I'm wondering, since I'm in the middle, how much is useful for understanding what happened in this book or in the general overarching plot of the story. And for this one, I'm wondering it too, but it was a nice little adventure that only took a couple of weeks in the story, I believe, or maybe a month. And you get some insight into what is actually happening. And the main character that doesn't want to actually go back to the world she came from, to know why, of course, read the book. Except for, I can probably tell you, since it is known from the very beginning of the book, that the biologist lost her husband to an expedition. In a certain way, in several ways actually, and that was really sad but also really insightful, and I like the way you get to know the character and the way the book is written. I believe I gave this 4 stars as well. So this was my wrap up for March, and I hope to see you soon again. This is it for now. Thanks for watching, and on the keer!